the mystery behind the HIS-TORY, and my story of Kingville and the old schoolhouse. They told their stories, but not the whole story. Different perspectives, two voices that lived it. Same history. Or is it? And more.
Today I'm sitting down with someone who experienced Kingville at a time when it was still whole. This is my uncle, Jimmy Brooks, class of 1966. And what makes his story powerful is that he experienced Kingville right before everything began to change. Uncle Jimmy, can you introduce yourself and share your connection to Kingville High School?
Yes, like you said, my name is Jimmy Brooks. I graduated from Kingville High School. I started there in the first grade, and I graduated in 1966. Of course, Kingville High was a predominantly black school.
So you graduated in 1966, the year before the school closed. If someone walked into the school in 1966, what would they have seen and felt?
One thing, we were overcrowded, but we didn't realize it because we've always been overcrowded. They would have seen a lot of happy people that didn't like missing school days because of, I never felt like I wanted to miss it. Every now and then I might cut a day, but it was just so much. Always there was something going on all the time there. There may be a talent show going on during the day. There may be a band concert. Football games was during the day. We only had lights my senior year. So we didn't have any lights on the football. We only had two sports, which was basketball and football. At one time they had a baseball team, but I was like maybe in the sixth grade during that time, sixth, seventh grade when they had a baseball team. So, but it's a lot of good memories. I can't say anything any bad memories. Everything was just good memories. We had fun. There was a lot of things going on.
Gotcha. So it sounds like you guys look forward to going to school every day.
Oh yeah.
So you touched on it, and you probably already answered the question. But if you want to touch on it a little bit more, what was Kingville like during your time before everything began to change?
We had a store across the street. We used to love to slip across the street to John's little store, and slip back on. We could never leaving campus was a no. We weren't allowed to leave campus at no time. But we would always slip across the street sometimes and get where we needed and, come back around. We would always ease around by the gym, come on the backside and just run across the street over there. A lot of memories, especially my class. We had a fun class. We were all close with each other. We grew up right there in Kingville, and we had people that was coming from Oak Burr, Norwood, and New London. So everybody was bused there to Kingville. It was only one black high school and the other one was West Baden, of course. But we were the only two around. And there was rivalry times, especially during the basketball season, football season. So we look forward to coming in there and coming to school and how I began and how I look back and how it was before. We had grocery stores that we would, even go to the grocery store. We would always slip. A.J. Morgan, there was a store called A.J. Morgan. We could slip across the street over there and run up there to the grocery store. So it's but the sports had a big impact on us. That's what kept us going, because we didn't miss games. I enjoyed playing sports myself. I played basketball and football there. Played in the band. The band was fun, So before it changed, like I said, it was fun.
So let's get talking about the community influence, family roots. Who were some of the people that helped shape you during that time?
It was that helped shape us, kept us there was a lot of the adults. You know, if you played hooky from school and some parents saw you playing hooky, for example, they would let your parents know because everybody knew everybody. And if you played hooky, you better make sure that none of the adults saw you, like my parents' friends or neighbors. You stayed in the house. If not, you went out just playing around. And the teachers, one thing about those teachers, which they was all black, they made sure that you did your work, and they were really into seeing that you get an education. Because there was one teacher would always say, "I got mine. You got yours to get." And she stayed. That was one of her philosophies. She would always say, "I got mine. You got yours to get." So that kind of kept us going. And Miss Christian, who lived across the street, she would always ask, even because I had her in the first grade, and she would always ask me when I'm walking by that way, how's school going? And that even after I graduated, you know, she wanted to know what I was planning on doing. You know, she was no longer, she was there. Matter of fact, she taught my parents. So she was a legend. A lot of legends, you know, were there. But they had a big influence on and we always had support. You know, that was one thing they always tell us, because then there was so many parents that didn't graduate, and they all wanted to see. I remember one day I was over in the pool room. I slipped over in the pool room during school day, and this man come up to us, and it was about 3 or 4 of us, and he said, "Why you guys not in school?" So we always just left school. And he said, "You know, education is so important." And we really didn't. We saw we listened to what he was saying, but at that time didn't realize how important education was, because all the parents, all the adults, that's the main thing they wanted you to do: stay in school, graduate, because there was so many of them that didn't graduate. You know, because of so much was going on. A lot of parents had to drop out. Our ancestors had to drop out of school to help out. But that was one thing that they wanted to make sure that you are going to graduate from high school. So mom and dad, they didn't play that. No, you're going to graduate. I saw a lot of friends drop out. And yeah, that was a priority.
Well, it seems like you already answered my next question. If you want to just piggyback off of it, is what role did family and community play in your experience? You almost answered the question before I asked you, Unc, but it's all good.
Correct.
Anything else you can add to what role families played in community? So I guess it was when they say the old saying, "It takes a village." You guys seem like you lived and died by that.
Oh yeah, that was one thing that it took a village. And nobody would be upset. No parents would be upset if you told one of the parents that I saw her not going to school, or cutting class for some reason. I was go to school but leave school. So we had that support throughout the community, not just on the street. I mean, the entire community. We had, they were like a backbone to our parents, and they could depend on each other. You know, if I saw your kids, or they saw my kids, it all worked out real good. And everybody, like I said earlier, everybody knew everybody, and they knew the kids. They knew who your parents were. If they didn't, they'd find out. Because growing up, and you probably hear it today, you see some kids and you ask, "Well, who's your mama? Who's your daddy? You know, who your parents?" And that's how it goes to the day. I'm that same way. If I meet, say, "Well, who's your parents? You know, who's your relatives?" And they work from there. And somewhere in that line, they know somebody in your family.
Gotcha. So that almost rolls into the next question. So what did it mean being part of the Brooks family in that environment?
Well, we were such a big family, and we were close with each other. We grew up with each other. We played with each other. Uh, had a lot of fun, and your cousins. We were all close. I can't say that nobody didn't get along with each other. The cousins, the uncles that we had, the aunts, uh, and you always felt, and you know that you could always go to someone and talk to them about certain situations because certain things you didn't want to talk to your parents about, afraid. But there was always somebody else that you could talk to that helped you through. So it was a lot of support, and that's important. You know, like God give you family, and it's up to us to how we deal with family. So family is very important, and you know, there's going to be some misunderstandings, some disagreements among each other. But we all got together as the time went by. Even during school, we would have during those days we would look forward to having a family reunion. It wasn't the Brookses, but the Brookses were invited. It was more or less the Crumps and the Davis, but the Brooks was part of it. So a lot of us attend those family gatherings. It wasn't always in Albemarle. It would either be Marksville, Albemarle, somewhere in that. And not only that, even my brother and I are 5 years apart. But his friends, so that made most of his friends the same or even more older. But they would spend time with you then. You know, it didn't matter. They would always spend some time with you to try to tell you some things, where to go, where not to go, where to hang out, you know, or who to hang out. And it was one thing that, and I'm sure you told your daughter the same thing. Be careful who you hang with. And they would always tell us that. And another thing they would always tell us, especially the parents, anything after 12 o'clock at night is trouble.
Mm.
And I would always keep that in mind. And if I got in trouble, it happened after 12 o'clock, you know, because nothing really stirs up early. So I would always keep that in mind. Be careful who you hang with.
Gotcha.
Don't be a follower.
Mm.
You know, you don't necessarily have to be a leader, but don't be a follower. You know,
Gotcha.
Use your mind wisely.
So before we get back into Kingville, just touch a little bit on the Brooks. So before Mom passed a couple years ago, we was doing research and we found out. Well, first of all, Granddaddy Otis Brooks and grandmother, her last name was Freeman. And during our research, now all my life, I noticed how grandma and granddaddy went to different churches, and for the life of me, I couldn't understand why. And they was loyal, married, committed from death to their part. They lived by that all of 63 years. But during the research, I found out that Freeman's Chapel actually had the first school in the basement, which is now Union Chapel, and then afterward, Mount Zion had the industrial school. So how does that make you feel?
That makes me proud to know that last name on both sides, the Freeman and the Brookses. You know, started education, it's history. It's history. And it's good to know that because, see, I never would have known probably if you hadn't done some research.
And it was because of Granddad, to be honest with you. He kept talking about the old schoolhouse, but no other historians was talking about it. So cool. Any community activities? And to tie it into, because you already touched on it, but how did those activities shape the person that you are today or the person that you became?
One thing, playing sports would keep you out of a lot of trouble. And because if you get in trouble, you're not going to play sports.
Mm.
So that was one of the focus which was a good thing about sports. Each year at homecoming, the band would parade through Kingville community. Not uptown. It would go down. We'd go down Wall Street. We'd come up Gibson, all the way up to Avery Avenue, come back around Avery Avenue, come back down Lundex, and come back in to the school. And the band was marching. There was cars, homecoming queen. It was a parade during that time when I was in school. Community enjoyed it. Just seeing the band march through the community, Kingville has a lot of memories in such small school, but so many people. Because there was classrooms everywhere. There was classrooms in the gym. There was a classroom even on part of the cafeteria. There was a classroom in the auditorium. And eventually, of course, a new auditorium was built there at Kingville. And my class, the class of 66, we were the first class to graduate, to march into that auditorium. And shortly after that, of course, the following year was the last class. And it was sad that they tore that auditorium down because that auditorium was brand new. One good thing about that particular year, we left that lectern that you see there in the E. Waddell Center, there that you stand behind, that lectern. You know what I'm talking about?
The podium?
That podium.
Mm-hmm.
And the next time you're there, you look at it, and there's a tag on there saying class of 1966. So we left that podium there. We ordered it. All the students in our class, we went in with our money, what little money as we had, and was able to purchase that.
So the same one we
same
used?
one. They had it refinished, looked like, but that's the same one that we left.
I have noticed that.
Yep, look at that. And every time I see that, I think of our classmates.
I didn't know that was you though, but yeah, I noticed it every time.
Yeah, we met and we wanted to leave something there because that's how much we love Kingville High.